Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out at the range to talk about a very, very cool conversion kit. It's a replica of a firearm I've personally wanted for quite some time. I know many of you watching this video have wanted one, and just as many probably have never heard of this thing. Now, it's not what I have in my hands right now. This is the US produced, sadly no longer produced, KR9, which is an American 100% copy clone of the Russian Bizon 9mm submachine gun. This is a semi-automatic, but it is an SBR. But I'm going to talk about this one to start off with because this is the firearm that ultimately replaced the one that we want to talk about in today's video. And the one we want to talk about in today's video is called the Bizon in Russian, but it's a Russian pronunciation of the American bison, which is the buffalo, the American buffalo of North America. So I may actually call it the bison in this video. Don't beat me up for it. I don't speak Russian. I'm an American. I speak English. So anyway, we want to talk about that. The company that's doing it is called Stuffin' Things. And it's a simple conversion kit that's available for several different types of already existing on the market 9mm firearms. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. But I did want to start off by showing you guys the KR9, which is also known as the Bizon. And again, this would replace the Bizon in military service. And one of the reasons for that is because the Bison, well, it wasn't exactly known for its reliability, so the Russians just kind of moved on. But it's still out there, it's still epically cool, and the fact that we can now get kits is what this video is about. It's kind of a first shots video, if you will. I've had it for several weeks. I've been shooting it, working with it, learning about it. We'll probably do more videos on it later after we get a lot more rounds through it. But today I'm just so excited about the fact that it even exists that I want to share it with you guys. So let's get started with today's video, talking about the Stuffin' Things, Russian Bizon, or as I'm just going to call it from now on, Bison. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. All right, so right here in front of me, here's the KR9, aka Bizon. And again, this would be what would be currently being used and produced in Russia. And this is a Palmetto State Armory PSA AKV9 that has been converted into a Bison. And the Bison is a basically a 9mm AK, but its unique feature is not the fact that it's a 9mm AK as much as it is the fact that it uses a helical magazine. And I'll explain that in a little bit more detail in this video, what helical magazine means. But instead of having a conventional magazine, in this case a 30-round magazine that inserts into a mag well like this on the Bizon, on the Bison you would have the magazine that goes into the weapon like that, holding 50 plus rounds underneath the weapon going forward, not sticking down. A lot of benefits to this design: capacity, lower profile if you're firing into prone, but apparently the Russians had some reliability issues with it, and therefore it didn't really stick, although I do believe they're still out there and obviously they're still being used. But again, to my knowledge, the Russian military has moved on to the Bizon. All right, love this gun, gonna put it away. I'm not gonna use it anymore in this video. So while this looks, man, I would give it, you guys are gonna probably have a different percentage than I will. I'm gonna give it 85% correct look to an actual Bison, but it's obviously got some changes that were necessary because it is a conversion kit to your existing firearm. So what do I mean by that? Well, in the case of the AKV9, which this is the base gun for this particular conversion, what I've done is removed the magazine well. I've replaced it with the supplied mag catch that allows the helical magazine to work. And then I've removed the factory handguard, maintains its factory front handguard retainer, which is also the locking point for the front part of the magazine. And I've replaced it with this aluminum handguard that is very much like a Russian Bizon front handguard. The kit also comes with the proper muzzle device, which is a very good replica of the muzzle device that would have been used on this firearm. And so really the only thing that you need to do to convert this particular firearm is remove that magazine well and install your mag catch. It does require fitment. Even with modern AKs produced on modern tooling with the best machines in the world, in my experience, there are no two AKs that are alike. So when it comes to things like fitting mag catches, it's going to take some time and effort to get that fit to the firearm. And I'm not even that mechanically inclined. Jason, the cameraman, would tell you the fact that I even attempted this and successfully accomplished it is a feat in and of itself, because I'm the type of guy that tries to adjust the alignment on his Jeep with a pipe wrench. Just kidding, but I'm just not handy with tools. I got it in there, I fitted it, used some cold blue on the aluminum parts to get it back to being black. But anyway, it was very, very easy to do. And so once the conversion kit is done, here's your front toe, and this is going to go into your front handguard retainer on this particular conversion. And so you'll stick that into the front. Let me see where I got to look here a little bit. You put that in the front, and then just rock the magazine back, and it locks into place. To release it, just like a standard AK, push on the mag release and take your magazine out. Now, the other cool thing is this kit from PSA is something that they have already started fitting this conversion kit to some of their AKV9s. They made a post on social media. I want to say that they made 50 of them for their first run. And I don't know if those have been sold yet or not, but I found that to be really interesting. If you watch the PSA videos on YouTube, you've probably seen a Bison sitting there on the back wall. And I always had questions in the back of my mind, like, are they going to buy the rights to this? Are they going to license it? Are they going to use it? Because it certainly makes sense. And that's precisely what they've done. They've, I think, are just working with stuff and things. I don't know if there's been any type of acquisition. So anyway, now what's also cool is that this kit is not just available for the PSA firearms, the AKV9. If you're crazy enough to take a no longer produced and becoming more and more valuable KR9 Vitez, the kits also are available for these. Again, you remove the magazine well and make some slight modifications, and then you can turn this into that. Now, I would love to actually use a Vitez or a KR9 for that conversion, but given the scarcity and the fact that they're not in production right now, I probably would hold off on that. If somebody picks up the rights to it, somebody picks up KUSA and runs with the Vitez once again, I would probably do a conversion kit to one of them. Also, the Century Arms NAC 9 also has kits available for it on the Stuff and Things site. And there might be one other Century product in there that that's 9mm AK-ish that you can get this kit for. Also, this is an aluminum tube on the helical magazine. They also have a clear tube, so you can actually see the rounds as they stack in the magazine. Clearly, that wouldn't be correct for a military type application, but it still is kind of cool to be able to see the rounds in there. It's also worth pointing out the original Russian Bison submachine gun was 9x18. This is 9x19, NATO 9mm. So the rounds are a little bit longer, and it's not going to hold as many rounds. Now, depending on which conversion kit you get, these magazines can hold anywhere between 50 and 53 or 55 rounds of 9mm. Each kit is built specifically for whatever firearm you're trying to convert. All right, so with all that being said, no conversion is necessary to the internal part of the gun. Literally, it's remove the magazine, replace your handguard, stick the mag in there, and get to work. Probably going to ask what optic I have on the top here. This is a Novus clone of a Russian IP-87 red dot sight. It's not a real Russian sight. This is a Chinese-made replica, but they are perfectly capable of being used on firearms. I've had them on 7.62x39 firearms, and then on this 9mm firearm, and they work like a champ. It's a really, really cool clone optic, because the actual Russian IP-87s are wildly expensive and almost impossible to find. All right, so let's do a little bit of shooting with this bad boy, because I've done enough talking about it. And yeah, one thing I do want to say is I will ultimately SBR this and try to put a triangle folder on it to make it look even more correct. Right now it's a pistol. Vitez is the SBR. But you know, with the AKB9, you have that pick rail back there, so you can pick up an SP tactical brace like this to kind of complete the firearm until you file your Form 1, if that's what you so desire. All right, so let's run outside real quick and do a little bit of shooting with the gun. I'll show you how it loads and all that other stuff. But I just want to pull the trigger. Who wouldn't? So, a helical magazine. I'll throw up a picture of what it looks like internally. Basically, the rounds coil around the body of the magazine in a helical fashion. And so you have a winding mechanism on the magazine that allows you to wind the magazine under spring pressure and then allows the rounds to load into a magazine. But there's an interesting feature. So if you take a look at this little latch right here, this is a ratcheting catch, okay? So you can grab the front of the magazine, twist it, and you see the follower go down and see how it just locked. That ratchet has caught that follower, and when I insert this into the gun, it will come up and butt against the bottom of the receiver, and when it does that, it releases the ratchet so the magazine can feed freely. When you take the magazine out of the gun, the ratchet will re-engage, and the rounds can't just be shook out of the magazine, okay? So, but that also presents a unique challenge, if you will, in loading the magazine. So here's what I found is the best method. So you will have to release the ratchet with your thumb. So you're going to hold it back here. You twist counterclockwise here to draw the follower down. But what I do is I hold the ratchet, I'll turn the follower until it just starts to disappear. I'll release the ratchet and see how it holds the follower down. Now I can get a few rounds in there. All right, hold the ratchet again, and this requires a little bit of shaking sometimes until it goes down, the ratchet catches again, load a few more rounds into the magazine. And you'll just keep doing this until you get the magazine fully loaded. Now, I will admit the first time I was doing this, I struggled with it, all right? But there's tutorial videos on there from the Stuff and Things website. I just showed you how I do it. You'll notice that I'm holding the magazine with a slightly nose down attitude, and you'll see me kind of lightly shake it as the rounds start to stack themselves in that helical magazine, okay? But once you get it mastered, it's a fairly easy thing to do. So let's go ahead and fire these rounds out of it really quick. Now, I should also point out that when I fit the magazine into the gun, I did so for safety reasons without ammunition in the magazine. So there's no upward pressure from around in the magazine pushing against the bolt. So when the magazines are empty, they lock right into the gun, no effort required whatsoever. But what I didn't take into account is that when the rounds are in the magazine, they're going to apply upward pressure on the bolt, and then I didn't take enough material off the top of the mag catch, so I would really have to whack that magazine to get it to engage, which I don't really want to do because I don't want to damage the magazine. So I can take this out very easily, take a little bit more material off, but I haven't gotten around to it. So because of that, and here I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's just a few rounds in the magazine. But when I go to push the magazine, see where this little ratchet is butting up against the receiver? It won't latch unless I really bang the heck out of it, or I can just do this. Now the magazine's locked into the gun because I pulled the bolt to the rear, and now the weapon's loaded. That wind is cold, fellas. So that's the trick, right? On how to load the magazine, how to put it into the gun, and of course, the fitment would be up to you. Now, if you were to pick up one of the already converted firearms from PSA, again, last I heard they were doing like 50 of them, they may do more. the fitment and stuff will be spot on from the factory. If you do it yourself, just know that there's going to be a lot of trial and error. You're going to have to take a little material off, try to fit everything together. If it doesn't quite work, if the mag catch doesn't move freely, if it doesn't lock properly, take it back out, take a little material off. You get the idea. But overall, again, I'm not very mechanically inclined, and yet I was able to accomplish it in about an hour, hour and a half of work, trying to be as meticulous as I possibly could. But overall, and here, let me show you. Magazine's empty and locks right into the gun. So overall, I just think it's super, super cool. Now, I've read that people have had issues with this magazine, and that could be any number of things, because again, this is a conversion kit. This is not a firearm that's for sale. Well, PSA is doing it, but originally the Stuff and Things is a conversion kit meant for you to convert your firearm to be able to use this magazine. And maybe people are getting the conversion installation incorrect. They're taking too much material off, not enough material off. There could be any number of things that might cause a problem. So just keep that in mind when you pick up one of these kits, that you want to be very careful in how you install it and follow the installation videos as closely as possible, and just take your time. Or hopefully Complete Firearms at some point will be available for you guys just to go out and pick one up if you're interested in one of these kits. So Jason brought something up that I had considered but disregarded because it will potentially induce pretty serious problems, including getting rounds backwards into the magazine, which could then cause you difficulty trying to get the magazine unscrewed up. And I've never taken one of these apart. But here's his idea, and this is why I don't think that you should do it. Just properly fit your mag catch. All right, so we've already talked about the ratcheting system on these magazines. And so I have some rounds loaded into the magazine. You can turn it back one click, and it will hold that round down, right? But that round is loose in there now. It can literally just fall out if I invert the magazine. But in doing that, because of the fact I haven't properly fit the magazine, now that I have that ratchet down, I can put the magazine into the gun and it will lock in. And because it's in, it released the ratchet, the round is now in there, and the gun can pick it up. Okay, but the reason why I would recommend fitting the mag catch properly and not doing this is because rounds will fall out otherwise. All right, so just wanted to answer that question because I thought it was a really good point that Jason had brought up. So overall, what are my feelings about this system? This is not a go-to-war or self-defense type firearm, at least in its current configuration, in my mind. But this goes again to something I've tried to drive home many times here on the Military Arms channel. You are perfectly allowed to own firearms that are just fun to shoot. A lot of clone builds out there. Some of the early G36 clones and stuff that I was playing with, they're not go-to-war firearms. They're more or less novelties. It just allows me to shoot a G36 and things like that. And so this kind of falls into that category. It's been a lot of fun to shoot. It may be ammo sensitive. I've never tried anything other than 115 grain Federal in it. We do plan on doing more shooting with it. I have seen the demonstrations from Stuff and Things. They have fully automatic test guns that run mag after mag after mag. And so it seems like it has a lot of potential, but I also can guarantee you there will be Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 versions of this. But as it stands right now, am I happy that I bought this? And yes, I did buy it. Yeah, I'm giddy, guys. I think it's a lot of fun. Even if I have to clear the occasional malfunction for some reason, I'm okay with that because this is not my self-defense firearm. This allows me to shoot a classic military firearm that I otherwise would not have access to. If you guys have any questions about anything you've seen in today's video, you can ask those questions down below. Also, let me know what you think of this. Do you like these types of conversion kits? Do you like these types of clones? Is that something that's of interest to you? Let us know in the comments, because if it is, that helps to inspire other manufacturers to do similar things like this. And I'd like to see more products like this on the market. So again, comment down below. Let us know what you think about it. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel, the best way to do that is to become part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Right here on YouTube, you got the thanks and join button underneath the video player you're watching right now. Mash either one of those buttons and you can help support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Thank you for 16 years of support. Swing by, check out Copper Custom, and we'll talk to you guys soon.